Hey guys, okay, so what is the happy medium between offering up suffering, for myself versus offering suffering for others? Well, I'm gonna go back to my last video, which I will link below and or I will post, at the end of the video. But um, it is important for us to know that our suffering, first and foremost, is to redeem us, right? Like it is our cross, right? The vocation towards suffering for the good of others is just that. It is a vocation, and I would dare to say that not everybody is called to offer up themselves as a sacrifice through suffering for others. What I mean by this is that even Saint Teresa of Lisieux, she said, I offer myself as a victim of divine love, not as a victim of suffering like the Christ. But she said, I have never really had a lot of suffering in my life. I mean, yeah, like my mom passed away, but my sisters were there to pick me up. But the point is that that she made herself an offering of divine love, which meant that essentially, if anyone around her was not accepting the love that Jesus was trying to give them, she said, I volunteer. I want to accept that love. And a lot of times that love does look like suffering, which is a funny thing because a lot of times God causes us suffering for us to grow in virtue. If anything, that is really why suffering. If anybody asks you, why does God cause suffering or why does he permit suffering, is for us to grow in virtue. So a lot of the times what Saint Teresa of Lisieux was saying is essentially like, I volunteer, and if you want to send me sufferings, like the same blessings that you wanted to give to them through their suffering, I willingly accept it because they didn't want it, but I do want it. I want to love you more, and I want to offer up myself. I want you to fill me with your love. I want to be your most beloved child. I want to be your favorite one, not because in a bad way, like I want to be your favorite one in a bad way, but more like God is thirsting to love. And often, if you have ever tried to love someone that does not love you back, it hurts. It hurts a lot. And I'm not talking about romantically. It could be like from a parent to a child, right? That it hurts whenever that love is rejected. And she said, I want to accept all your love, so to as comfort you, God, right? So with that said, if you feel like you are being called to offer up your suffering for the sake of the world, do know that that there is in my head that there is a very specific vocation that God calls to very specific people, and there's an army of these people. It's not like there's only like 5 in the world. No, like there's an army. So this might be you, but a lot of the times, what I see is that so John Paul II had a very deep reverence for the poor, and no, not the poor. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. For the suffering, for the ill, for those who were sick, and he would often to his friends that he was. I can't speak today. To his friends that were sick, he would come up to them and he would say, "Please offer up this your suffering for my behalf, for my papacy. I need it." And often enough, their illness, he was a witness to the power of the suffering of those who were ill, and so there's an army of sick people. There's an army of mentally sick people and bodily sick people that are ongoingly offering up their sacrifices to God, saying, I did not wish this suffering, and I would never wish it on my worst enemy. But if this is your will, then I surrender it, and I surrender it on behalf of the sins of all the people of the world. And there's beauty to that vocation. So, like, if you desire that vocation, just know that, hey, you're asking for suffering. Like an invitation to that vocation, it typically comes with a diagnosis, and a harsh one at that. Something that is a hard pill to swallow, no pun intended, right? So just be aware of that if God is calling you to suffer for the world, then so be it, and rejoice in it. Now, sometimes God doesn't get you sick, but he calls you to fast a lot, right? And I do not know how to answer to that, and I might be able to explain it on the next video or so, but this video is getting kind of long, so see ya.